What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. It is tournament season, and we are back again taking a look at a couple of the regionals and the tournaments that had happened while I've been out on the road. We got several actually dropped. Last time I only covered Toronto, Canada, but we had several that happened over the course of September 17th and 24th. The first thing that I do want to highlight is, one, we're looking at all of this on Weiss Tea Time, and they did get the information for one of the Ozkigura decks. Last time they didn't have it. Just wanted to show that off real quick. Also, it says Shark Week. Awesome. Just to give it a showcase, where the other one that was in third place did a 4-4 even split of the climaxes. This is doing the 5 standby, 3 pants, which I do feel you can kind of get away with, especially since you're running like 4 of the climax swappers, whatnot. So I did compare the decks really quick before I started recording, just to see, like, there is a little bit of comparison, but obviously there is going to be a little bit of overlap as well. That's perfectly fine. But I did want to showcase that real quick. But this week we do have the Austria and Rosemont happened on the same weekend, and then the Philippines. I actually forgot that the Philippines was happening this past weekend, so I'm going to try to have this up before the end of this week, in which we should, the week that this is out, I believe, we should be having White Plains happen like the very next weekend. But anyway, let's get right into it. We still do not have the 2 Alice Silica decks for Toronto, but don't worry, it's coming up. We first have the Austria one, which it had 63 players, really awesome. We have a Ozki Choco deck, actually one from Hololive, and we're going to showcase each of these, obviously. We got some Bang Dream coming back in. I haven't seen a whole lot of Bang Dream topping for a hot minute. Escanor is not dead, it looks like. Before I do continue, though, I was going to go ahead and like pull up a whole bunch of the deck profiles really quick. But one of the big things I noticed across all of these, because we do have like a lot of the slime decks and everything as well. I've really liked seeing the slime decks pop up. That's really fucking cool. I looked through all 3 sets. I haven't looked at every single deck list, but I did look through the report itself, and there's no Overlord in here. I just wanted to highlight that real quick. Overlord came out September 1st, 2023, right there. You can see it. You have to wait 2 weeks after the release. So even if we allot for 1 extra day, meaning it should have been legal for tournament play on September 15th, and these happened September 17th. I don't know if maybe it's because of the same weekend they said no, but even in the Philippines, maybe we'll see it, in the next one after the Philippines or something. But even September 24th, when it, for a fact it would have been legal, there's no showing. This Overlord deck was so hyped up, and I'm glad I didn't like invest in trying to get any of the cards, but I just didn't want to have to deal with it. But I so many people were hyping it up, and there's no representation in the top 8. Maybe, obviously, like, say, take Rosemont. It had 192 players. That's a fucking amazing turnout. Let's go ahead and admit that right now. Maybe there was a whole bunch of decks that did show up. Obviously, I wasn't there. But there was people playing it, but it definitely didn't show top 8 representation. So maybe eventually we'll see it, but I just wanted to point that out really quick before we get too far into it, because I just was really surprised. I was expecting to see at least 1, maybe 2 across all 3 of these, but before I started recording, and I was like, oh, well, that's a nope. So let's get looking at it. First off, we have, like I said, back to Austria, we had Ozki Choco. Obviously, like I said, focusing off of the Ozki that people are using with the standby Gura shenanigans. And they had an SP in here, too. They had several SPs, if I remember correctly. This one, there's an Ayame, which is a legal level 1 Ayame. The Matsuri was also an SP. Kind of fucking cool there. But it also focused on the level 2 Choco climax combo for the other standby. And this is actually a very interesting setup. It wasn't with the Ozki, but it was with another one. I think it was the Miko, where Joe Schmo had actually taken a very similar 8 standby deck before Volume 2 had dropped. He took that to Teams back in Springfest, and he actually said he did pretty damn well with it. So I mean, I'm glad to see something like this, being played a bit more. I know the Gura is going to be very rampant, so I kind of wanted to highlight this a bit more. Second place, we have Step on Me Mocha, apparently. You know what? To each their own. I ain't going to judge. Going back to some Happy Christmas Kasumi shenanigans with Something in the Warehouse. Haven't seen that in a hot minute. Focusing on, like I said, the level 1 climax combo with a salvage. And another salvage, which is going to be comboed off of... This is from the 5th anniversary Star Kasumi. This is actually pretty crazy. I'm just going to highlight the effect real quick. It says, at the end of this card's attack, if At Long Last is in your climax area, you can pay 2 stock. And if you have another anniversary or pop-in party character, you can pay the 2 stock. If you do, deal 2 damage to your opponent. And until the end of your opponent's next turn, during this card's battle, you cannot receive damage by the auto effects of your opponent's characters. So, I mean, like, that's just really crazy to stop, like, cancel burns and all sorts of stuff. Which we're going to see a whole bunch of stuff like that coming up in some of the slime decks as well for, like, some burn effects. So that's really cool to see, especially if you, like, tri-field this. Your opponent's just going to be like, well, what am I going to do? So, very cool to see this, see Bang Dream coming back. I definitely haven't seen them a whole terribly much, like, topping and whatnot. But I invested super heavy into Bang Dream, so I like to see it. In third place, we have just Sun, which is very appropriate because the Lion Sin of Pride himself is back. With or without, I was about to say, not Gother, is, the other level 3, I can't think of his fucking name. I can see his, Gil Thunder. That's what I'm thinking. Without the level 3 Gil Thunder, definitely didn't see this deck topping for a hot minute. But people were still playing it, still running, basically the same exact setup, running the Escanor Climax combo, the level 0 Elizabeth right here. I almost said Amelia. I don't know why. The Elizabeth as well as the level 2 Meliodas right here. And just a whole bunch of double crit triggers. Really cool to see this back, even though people were like, oh, it's dead. The ban list killed it. It's not playable anymore. And I was like, no, it's still very playable. Just you can only run the level 3 Gil Thunder or this. And this has to be used for the level 3 Escanor shenanigans. So big shout outs to this one. I love 7 Deadly Sins. It's so cool. This is just such a weird, like, hodgepodge of cards, though. But it works. When the Lion Sin of Pride says, yeah, you thought you won the game, who decided that, you know? But yeah. Next is, as it's trying to load up, we do have some Alice shenanigans. Whereas in Toronto, we did have some Alice decks, but like I said, we didn't really get a chance to see what all it consisted of for the Silica side. We do have some Alice Kirito in here as well. But for this one in particular, obviously, like, focusing on the level 3 Silica for 4th place. This one, I don't think I've ever seen this run. Hold up, what the hell? Wielder of Time-Splitting Sword Berkuli. When this is placed on stage in your hand, you can choose one of your opponent's level 1 or higher characters. If you do, your opponent chooses one level X or lower character in their winning. Okay, so it forces them to swap a character on stage. So I wonder, like, this is just a tech 1 of, which is very interesting. You got plenty of green in the deck, so you're definitely gonna be able to pull it off. Speaking of green, yeah, there we go. Money counters right there. I don't know. I've honestly never seen that teched in personally. Just from the deck list I searched through during Springfest and everything, I don't think I ever saw this teched in. So very interesting choice. I wonder if this was to combat. It says level 1 or higher. It doesn't state front row or back row. It just so it's anywhere. They just have to be level 1 or higher characters. This could be used to combat, like, a couple different things. So I do think this is a very interesting tech. I legitimately had never seen this tech before. So, really cool there. And obviously, we do have some Don Machi. I was making certain I'm still on the Austria page. Let's see, Elizabeth Hendrickson, some Alice Kirito, and we have Itsuki for some quintuplets. I was about to say the Japanese name, and I was like, I don't think people are going to recognize that. I need to say quintuplets for this. But we do have some Don Machi. Let's see. It's just DDM question mark. But yeah, looks to be focusing mainly red-blue. It did say door pants. So yeah, red-blue anyway. I just need to not load up like 15 of these at the same time. That's my fault. You get to see my internet work in real time, kids. But so mainly focusing, it looks like there's no level 1 I know there's, oh no, it is the level 1 combo. I was like, this is the specific card I was looking for and I didn't see it, but it's because we jumped straight from level 3 to level 1. Like, the only level 2 is the Hestia knife Okay. But it focuses on the level 3 Proof of Trust Hestia to deal cancel burn of 2. Very nice. And the level 1 First Adventurer Bell, which is meant to get like the Hestia knife and everything. And it works off a Firebolt as well to get like a whole bunch of power, which is really cool. I'm not as familiar with the deck, so I don't think I can really speak about how the deck works too terribly well. I do know some of the cards, but for the most part, this is not my forte in any shape, form, or fashion. But, you know, red-blue, we love to see it, and obviously a more event-heavy deck, not just off of Hestia Knife and Firebolt, but there is Pyongkichi instead. It's his armor, I think. So, really cool there. Then we have Titanium Bulbul. I'm going to let this load up real quick. But it is the Elizabeth Hendrickson I've seen before. The Hendrickson is the level 3 right here. That ends up letting you pay 1, pitch 2 on attack to look at the top card of your opponent's deck, put it on the top of their deck or into their waiting room, and then you burn them for 4. So the top check's kind of wonky, but it's whatever. At the same time, you're basically burning for like... You're basically pulling off a Last Shot Xenon to a degree. Whereas like Last Shot Xenon was pay 2, pitch 1. This is the opposite of that, so but you still end up getting rid of like kind of the same number of cards for the most part. But you burn for it's on attack, you burn for 4, and then his damage coming through with Forbidden Power is off of the Pants trigger, so it is very much like 4 damage, then 3 damage coming through, and then the level then it's still running the level 0 Elizabeth that we saw in the Escanor deck. So once again, more 7 Deadly Sins. I love it. We got some more Alice. Let's see. So this was the Kirito version. I don't see any crazy tech. We are seeing more of the money counters and everything. Even not running the promo version, running the original from Ordinal Scale. I saved plenty of those myself. But yeah, once again, the Alice decks were not touched by the ban list in any capacity. So, which, you know, Ayame got nuked, which is very fair. Yeah, no, it's a typical, very, very standard setup, but I am liking it. But yeah, it's the 4 pants, 4 choice. Typical Alice shenanigans. And lastly, we have Quintsky. I like the name of that. But focusing off of just Itsuki from, I'll say mostly, but like in terms of summoning, you have some backups here from Yotsuba and Nino. This Nino being the anti-change. Yes, the anti-change. Which one is this Yotsuba? Oh, it's a memory kick. That's fair. That's very fair. We do have some Nino. It looks like the level 0 Nino that does run. I think it runs to middle center. And it's an 8 salvage deck, so we are really thankful in the year of our Lord 2023 to not have to worry about anti-salvage from, I was supposed to say Honkai, from Fleet Girls and from... TLR. I couldn't think of the Kantai. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name Kantai. What the hell? I just got back in from work today, y'all. I'm tired. So then we have Rosemont. This was huge. This was a bunch of fucking people. I'm not trying to downplay Austria or Philippines in any shape, form, or fashion, but 200 players I feel is really, really cool. I really love to see this. And we do see in this 3 different, I say different, but 3 slime decks, all focused around the Muron combo. The Shizu and Muron, which I'm glad to see for several reasons. Viva la Raza. The main thing, which, oh god, they have a ton of SPs in here too. Holy shit. That looks so good. I'm sorry, I just want to point out this for like a half second. That is so cool. But it's mainly focusing, oh, they even have, oh, they had so many more SPs in hiding. I think this is what you would call a whale sighting, but I mean... Bruh spent the money and he got first place with it. I mean, go for it. But it's focusing mainly on, obviously, the level 1 Shizu combo for on reverse to reveal the top card of your deck to be able to put this into your memory. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Wow, I'm dumb. I was reading the second effect right here for some reason. When this attacks, if legendary hero is in your climax area, mill the top 2 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 level X or lower demon continent character. X is equal to the total level of the card sent to the waiting room by this effect, and this gets 2,000 power until end of turn. So she gets very big. She doesn't have to reverse. It's when she becomes reversed she can end up sending herself to your memory. That's what it was. I apologize. So that's your level 1 engine, but then you turn right back around at level 2 and drop this Muron. And there's a very, very fun combo with this Muron to get this particular one. This is the shiny version. He went full thing for this. This Shuna and this other level 0 Muron in your backstage to basically end up making these Murons be like 12k with hexproof, which is just crazy. Which, to be fair, if these have hexproof, I don't think the other tech from that one SAO deck that won't do anything to this. You would have to get rid of like the Shuna or something in back row and make them swap out with something. That would make them lose a decent chunk as well as the hexproof, to be fair, but this is the main combo. And for a long time, there typically people try to, for playing climax combos at level 2, it was typically off of like level 3s that you could early play. For a long time, level 2 has just been the forgotten level outside of like, you know, standby shenanigans. But we don't count standby shenanigans for this. This is just 8 pants. And this is pulling off like level 2 combos, and your level 3s end up being like all, I just realized like where they're in the military uniforms like this is all foiled out. This is fucking awesome. Sorry. I just had to talk about that for a second. But like using the Benimaru for burn damage, using the Milim here for clock shoot shenanigans. So just in general, your level 3 game is not like climax combo dependent. You're using the Murons and the Shizu and everything to get the cards that you need. And you're doing that, you're setting up for your late game so early on, and then have like a decent wall as well, I think is really fucking cool. So I like being able to see this a bunch more. And I know a lot of these other ones are probably going to be very similar, and we'll take a look at those in a second. We do have some more quintuplets, being 8 choice. I'm assuming is the Ichika as well, which I was told in the last video that this the Ichika variant, if this ends up being it, is definitely like the more preferred build right now in terms of non like standby shenanigans, because this is a very powerful deck for very cheap, to be completely and totally fair. It's not even running, you don't even run the level 3 Ichikas that were like the ones that the standby decks were running, where it was like early play that could heal and everything, but it was like really it's like $10-12 or something a piece. Whereas this is a hell of a lot cheaper. The level 1 combo is not expensive. The level 3, it's not running the other level 3 combo that I personally prefer, but it's still running the 8 Ichika, the 8 choice with Ichika setup for the most part for the entire deck. I do like this one using the Santa suit one. It was really cool. So, one, it's Santa suit Ichika. I'm not going to complain. But yeah, so there is another build that uses like another level 3 that can be summoned at level 2. So that's really cool. And I'm just like taking a look and seeing if there's any other major changes. It's not really like major. Obviously, like I said, it's not running the other level 3, but still. Really cool there. We got some more Stock Soul Escanor. I'm assuming it's going to be on the same lines of the other one that we saw before. I don't want to be like, oh, and this is the same thing, and this is the same thing. The name. Put Danganronpa in Weiss, you know. That is really cool. Okay, this person's also... Okay, Rosemont, everybody was coming out with the high rarity stuff. Look at this for a second. Holy shit. You could grate cheese on those apps. Just in general, like a ton of the like SPs and stuff like that looks so good. But this one is, yeah, so it's going to be the same setup with the 2 Escanor, 4 Elizabeth, and the 2 Meliodas combo. But this one is vastly more shiny. You know, I do think that helps the RNG a little bit. I could be incorrect on that. I'm being sarcastic. I'm sorry. We got Alice Kirito. Some more Alice Kigura. I definitely want to see what this looks like once it gets loaded up. So it's going to be very similar to before. This one, I don't think the other one was running the Yu-Gi-Oh! I could be incorrect on that. But definitely your Alice Kirito shenanigans. I knew this was going to see more play, and I'm definitely glad it's seeing play, unlike Overlord, which is just, once again, crazy how much that was hyped up and then just nothing. We do have some more quintuplets. This might be more of the build that I was talking about with the quintuplets down here, but the spread is going to be interesting depending on how that is when we get to it. We do have more Oz Kigura. This was 5th place with The Standby Angura Shenanigans. This one does seem to have some higher rarities as well, like I'm assuming like some SRs or something. Only one copy. Yes, like SR right there and everything. Really cool. Oh, Tekken Crony. Heck yeah. Just shout outs. Love me some Crony. This one doing the 4-4 split instead of the 5 standby 3 pants setup, which I to each their own, but I personally like the 4-4 a bit more. That's just me. I do have all the cards necessary to make this deck. I just haven't made it yet because I prefer to run like the Caligura setup in general, which is just cool. But the Calis run in here are not for the Climax combo; they are for the crit triggers, as well as level 1 cards that you can play. Then we have Shizu and the Muron. This says Shizu Muron Shizu, which I'm wondering if this means we have some other stuff. We do have the Soe. Oh, but we are also running the level 3 Conqueror of Flames, which lets you burn for 4. If your memory on attack for free, if your memory has 4 or more cards, you get to burn for 4. At the beginning of the Encore step, this goes to your waiting room just forcibly. So the spread for this, so we do have, so Conqueror of Flames is just the one of 4, which is, it's 8 pants regardless, but it's 4 of the Climax for the level 1 for Legendary Hero, 3 it looked like for Muron. Once again, the setup in this deck is like absolutely crazy. I'm trying to remember which ones were was there a particular Climax swapper? I'm trying to remember which one was which. This is all like anti-magic mask. This is stock swap. Maybe it was this one. Here we go. So we do have, okay, so the Benimaru here is the Climax swapper. I assumed there was, since you're doing like only 1 copy of it. But I mean, obviously you're still running, what does this Soe do again? Sorry, I didn't read it the first time. Oh, even when you play this one, you get to search for you get to add a Climax back from waiting room. So there's multiple sources to be able to get to it. It just feels weird to only play like a tech 1 of. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. But since you do have Climax swap at level 0, I almost question if people would just like run like 3 for the level 1 and then 2 for this. I don't know. To each their own. You know what? They're topping and I'm not, so I shouldn't be giving. I shouldn't be trying to like say, oh, this is what you should have run in the deck. So I am wrong for saying that. I just wanted to comment on it. Because I love seeing Slime up here. I love seeing Slime, topping more like this. It just, I was expecting more Overlord than this. Demon Lord Wrath. Okay. Oh, cool. Oh, this is more Demon Lord focused for the end game. Okay, you have my attention. So it's going to be doing, okay. Oh, okay. So one of them's a higher rarity. I saw 4 Climaxes in here, but this is the Legendary Hero as well. Okay, so this is doing 3 of Legendary Hero, 3 of Muron, and 2 of the endgame. So that's what I would more expect in terms of a setup. You have pants. You're going to get the Climaxes that you need. They are running the Benimaru. They're not running that Soe, but instead they're running this as the top end. All Piercing Light Rimuru. On attack, if you have the choice in play, deal 1 damage to your opponent. Choose up to X cards in your hand. Put them into your waiting room. For each card put into your waiting room by this effect, perform the following action. This gets plus an extra 1,000 power, and put the top card of your opponent's deck into their waiting room. If that card is a level 0 or lower character, deal 1 damage to your opponent. X is equal to the number of all Piercing Light Rimuru in your center stage. So you get to pitch for like up to 3, obviously if you're like just tri-fielding it and everything. And then you get to try to burn more times over the course of that. They heal and play as well. Really cool. This particular Millum shot the fuck up in price. This is a very, very good Millum. This is that's the Clock Shoot. Oh, they have 2 of them. They have the Clock Shoot one as well as the SP version. That is so cool. So yeah, no, I'm sorry I'm gushing so much over Slime for this. I know we've been talking for a minute now. Let's continue on. We have some more quintuplets, and then we're going to be going to Philippines, which is a ton of SAO. We have 4 SAO in the top end of Philippines, so they definitely like to like themselves some isekai. Okay, so this is running the level. Sorry, I had to make certain. Once again, this is like the level 3 that grabs back choice triggers, but everyone's running the high end cards, which is just hilarious to me. I say hilarious. I love it. Okay, so this is the level 3 that I was thinking initially, talking about the other one, where this can come out at level 2. You end up getting to deck thin a whole bunch. You build up extra stock just for attacking with a full field, which is just really nice. I prefer this one a bit more than the level 1, but I will not say no to SP level 1 Ichika. That is so cool. That is so pretty. I wasn't expecting to gush over... Okay, that's also cool. That's the fucking overframe rare. I wasn't expecting to gush over card art today. I was like, oh, we're just going to like look over each of the decks and everything. But yeah, here we are. So that was Rosemont. Congrats to the slime person. We have a lot of SAO. I'm not going to like dissect every single one for this. For the most part, we're just going to... I'm going to try to scoop a lot of these into the same thing, but the top 3 was all Alice builds. The first one being Alice Silica. Nothing crazy, looks to be like just kind of looks to be kind of standard. I hate to use that word because I don't want to make it seem like everything's cookie cutter, but it does seem to be the more recurring build. I guess that's still a way of saying standard. Okay, Leaf's Pure Wish definitely doesn't show up that much, but yeah. Okay, this is also running the Mother's Rosario. I was contemplating this as like an alternate win condition instead of like... I didn't know how much the level 3 Kiratos were going to be when they initially came out, and then they ended up being cheap as fuck, so I went with that build. But I had these. These are like really fucking cheap rares. I had these sitting on the back burner, ready to go in case that level 3 Kirito was like balls expensive. But I mean, like, none of the top end for the Alice decks are expensive. I'm sorry, I just wanted to highlight this real quick. I actually think this is really cool. I don't like that you have to pay the cost on attack and then see if you cancel, but this was a backup strat. So already deviating from the norm and seeing like a whole bunch of other cards in here you don't really see this one played as much. But it is an 8 choice instead of like the choice pants. So pretty cool there. Alice Silica probably going to be the same as before. We do have some Tokyo Revengers with some dual lanners, and we haven't seen that. We haven't seen Tokyo Revengers even back in Toronto. There was none. I didn't see as much. You still saw Tokyo Revengers even at the end of Springfest, but you really just didn't see that much. They still were around though. Once again, this is kind of very similar to the other decks. Nothing out of the ordinary here, but you know, obviously really cool to see. The dual lanners, I definitely have to talk about some Tokyo Revengers because of Gothmom. I'm required. That says a system error has occurred. Technical difficulties. It's like you're loading your shit up way too much. Chill. Decklog is tired of my bullshit. It's called Stock Swap. Okay. So yeah. Now this next one is one I want to talk about for a half second. So we have another Shizu Miran for 6th place, I should say. I'm assuming is the Itsuki. It says 8 door quintuplets and another Alice Silica. I will pull them up just to be fair for every single deck since I've shown every other one. I didn't expect for the recording to go this long, but whatever. I do not care at this point. I just like talking about this kind of stuff. The dual lantern setup being with this particular level 1 Chifuyu, and I believe it's this other... Let me see. No, it's not this one. I don't think it's supposed to be this one. No, it's not. There's another level 1 you're supposed to be able to play with this. So it's not running that. It's only running this one as its entire level 1 like setup is just this particular one. I guess this is the better one of the two. It lets you generate extra, like a bunch more extra stock. So... which is really cool. You know, I can understand not wanting to do both, but it's just interesting that that's solely the top end. But you know what? To each their own. I'm not going to fault nobody. I also am not a big Tokyo Revengers player. But we have a 4-4 split of a double crit trigger. This is choose up to 1 character with a crit trigger in its icon in your waiting room. Add it back to your hand. And then choose up to 2 of your characters and they get +1 soul till end of turn. You definitely don't see that effect that often. I'm glad I looked at that. And then 4 pants triggers for the top end with, I believe it's with this one. And we'll entrust our everything to you with this Baji. And this particular Baji right here. Oh, this is the SR version, so they are running 2 copies. I was like, I think this is the same thing. Okay, so it is. But there you go, Gothmom, your typical shout out for Tokyo Revengers. I know I had to. This next one, I actually want to talk about a decent little bit. But once again, I'm trying not to like highlight just Hololive as much as I know I've been talking about it on the channel. I like I said, they're topping, I'm not. That's kind of the big takeaway from this. I'm actually surprised they're running the event here, but to each their own. It is a 4-4 split of 4 salvage and 4 pants. The pants being with this Suisei that I very much love this Suisei. It is so nice. And 4 copies of Chloe right here. Now, I have another deck build that I want to do that uses the Suisei top end. It's not the mono Suisei deck. It's a different deck that I'm wanting to work on with a different level 1 engine, but this is the very interesting one. This particular Chloe only works if you reveal this Laplace in hand. It's a resonate effect. So on Attack of the Chloe, you can reveal this Laplace to salvage back stuff as well as generate a very nice chunk of stock. I very much love the Hollow X setup. But they're not, you don't run, like, they do not want to run, apparently, the Climax combo for this, and they're only running 2 copies. It's not just this person. I've seen this deck profile, something similar. I don't want to say they're, you know, obviously, I don't want to say anyone's net decking ever, but a deck profile very similar to this that just does that. Like, a lot of people are running this particular setup where it's like just 2 copies of this Laplace for the Chloe and you have to resonate with it. Meaning if you don't draw into the Laplace or search for it, you have to utilize your resources to get it. If you do not get this Laplace, your level 1 combo is dead. Like, just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I see they do have some backup strats for level 1s, I guess, just in case they're not able to get to it, which is very fair. This Muna is actually very strong, even as an uncommon. It can get very big, as well as attacking level 2 characters. I feel this is a good pick anyway, because this can get just as big, if not a little bit bigger, with some other buffs over the Alices that people have to worry about. And as you can see in the Philippines, there was a shit ton of SAO to deal with, so I'm certain this Muna probably punched a bunch of Alices in the face. I'm just saying that right now. I'm certain she put in work. So that's kind of the backup strat, it seems. If you don't get the Laplace setup, you have these. You have the level 1 Aquas and everything to be able to get get other cards onto the field. To be able to she gets pretty big. She's able to give your other characters an ability when they trigger a climax to be able to pay a cost to do effects. It's just really cool. But I love the Suisei setup. I just am not that big of a fan of the Chloe personally, but I do like the deck. I just am not a fan of running the Chloe and only like 2 copies of Laplace. It at least heals on play. Why not run like a 3rd copy to me? I don't know. I'm weird. I'm just saying. It just feels like a weird setup to me. But once again, they're topping and I'm not. I can't say shit. The Shizu Miron, I just want to highlight it real quick because we're already past 30 minutes for the recording. Once again, it is the level 2 and the level 1. It looks like there's no other weird shenanigans going on, but it is just a 4-4 split. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. The only thing out of the ordinary for this is the fact of everything's regular rarity. That's the only thing awkward for this, is there's nothing in here that's like, okay, well, this particular Shuna, they have 1 copy of the Shuna at foil, and this is how the regular version is supposed to look. But it's still cool. But honestly, I really like the military uniforms. This should have been the standard, but it's the SR. That's just, it's whatever. Yeah. There's a lot less holographic and foil stuff in here. That's the biggest difference. But regardless, I like the deck. I very much like it. We do have quintuplets. I'm assuming this is Itsuki. Happy End Itsuki. Yeah, definitely focusing mainly on that. Just a 4-4 split for the 8 salvage triggers. So running the level 1. This level 1 Itsuki is just so broken. It's so powerful. I don't care what anyone else says. I like it. And you do have other level 1s that can just get it out like so easy. Oh god. Anyway, so definitely shout outs to this one. So Happy End Itsuki. Maybe that means they're retiring the deck afterwards. I don't know. And then lastly, like I said, some more Alice Silica. Not going to highlight too much, but like I said, they topped. I'm going to at least show it off. Little Witch Academia in Weiss Schwarz when. I could just imagine like filling out the thing. They're just like, okay, what's the exact character limit, Nothing out of the ordinary for this one either. Does look to be a lot of the same cards. Very nice though, and obviously, like I said, I love Alice. I just did not run the Silica version. I preferred the Kirito version. But, you know, to each their own. They are running, so it's 4 salvage and 4 choice. So, and that is going to be it for the Philippines. Once again, shout outs to everybody who topped, everybody who went to the event. Like I said, almost 200 players in Rosemont. That is fucking amazing. I want to see more people like that. Like I said, Toronto had 141, which is really fucking cool. I'm glad to see those numbers. I know over in like Europe and whatnot, they're not gonna have as big of a representation. But I think there was one like last year that had like literally had like 10 or 12 people. I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, but it felt so low last year. That's why I'm glad to see the bigger numbers with some of the European ones. But no, that's going to be it for this. Like I said, no Overlord representation whatsoever. There seems to be more SAO and Slime than there is Azkigura, at least in the top 8 representation. Glad to see some Escanor back, some Bang Dream topping as well. Really fucking cool there. But yeah, if anybody has their inputs on these tournaments as well, please comment down below what your thoughts are, what you were expecting to see. Hey, if you played and any of these were up here, give yourself a shout out in the comments. I don't fucking care. Do it. Like hell, if you are one of the people, especially like one of the people who topped, like, you know, 1st to 4th place, you know, by all means, anybody, I don't, you know, whether you're 1st to 8th place, by all means, or if you somehow just barely skidded by to like 9th place or something, hell, you know, comment down below, give yourself a shout out, tell us what you were running, and let's just get people more people talking about the tournaments and stuff. It's just really fucking cool to see. And I am going to be signing off for now. Thank you all very much for watching. Let's see. The next one we have is going to be White Plains, New York, and San Jose in Costa Rica. So I am probably not going to be back for a couple weeks because I have vacation coming up personally, as well as work. They have 3 different ones on the same weekend of October the 22nd. So depending on how much time I have when I come back from vacation, I might be able to squeeze these 2 in when, assuming that the information is out. If the information is not out, like enough of it isn't out or something, I'm just going to wait until I come back from being out on the road as well. To which I should be back after after these 3 have occurred, right before Bilbao, Spain. So expect another one of these videos around then, tail end of October. But with that, we'll be signing off for now. Thank y'all very much for watching. It is greatly appreciated. Please like and subscribe if you would like. If not, hey, thanks for coming by to check out the decks, the tournaments, and everything. And we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.